Owners Off Script. Real owners, real conversations. Supported by SoundGeek.
Welcome to Owners Off Script, where we have conversations with no paper, no scripts, just hardcore talk, finding out about our guests and the journeys that they've been on in their lives. This could be from business owning through to health or championing causes. And today I'm very fortunate to have a guy who, when I was, back in the 90s, shall we say, waking up and hearing his voice on the radio, but had a career long before that in the music industry. We're going to talk to our guest today regarding his health, the challenges he's faced, and his shiny new podcast he's launching. So over to you first, Mr. Matthi Clark.
That's me, yes. So you might have known me as Matthi Clark on a radio station, which was around for a long time, Pirate FM. But before that, I did some other radio stations, and I started off my career at EMI Records head office in London.
What was the whole thought behind that?
I thought that'd be a route into getting into Abbey Road Studios and becoming a George Martin and producing the next big sensation on EMI label. I don't know. And it didn't happen.
From there, you went to a newsreader at Pirate.
Yeah.
Now, you went via your education through Cornwall, didn't you, at Falmouth?
Yeah, Falmouth, I did a broadcast journalism course, and it eventually led me to working on Pirate FM. I also worked on Atlantic FM, Heart Radio, when Atlantic FM was taken over by Global, and also across the border, I'm sorry to say.
That's okay, it's accepted. The good news is...
Radio Plymouth,
The good news is you're coming back to Cornish Airwaves, though, aren't you?
Yes.
So you're going to be joining the team at Cornwall's Rewind Radio.
Indeed, yes.
So which we can look forward to.
Yes.
Now, your life, which we're going to go straight to, has had its challenges. You had a career after radio in the video production world.
Yes.
Producing Cornish stories and working in the Cornish language.
Yes.
But then something happened in COVID. Let's get straight to that point. That's what we're here for today.
Okay, so when everyone else was getting back to life after COVID, you know, reacquainting themselves with the office and going outside their house, I was starting to get symptoms which I didn't know what they were. I was for a while wondering whether this was long COVID that I'd got, because I knew some people with long COVID, and I thought, I've got some fatigue, I've got some pains, this must be long COVID. Anyway, that got worse and worse, and I used to go out walking 14-mile walks, 26-mile walks actually, sometimes, and I very suddenly found those a lot more difficult. I went to the doctors. They said, you're a bit anemic. Come back for another test after Christmas. But at Christmas, lumps came up in my neck. And I thought, this isn't right. And they didn't go down. And I wasn't feeling fluey, or you didn't think, glands. This not right at all. So I remember coming back after Christmas, because I went up to see Mother up country. And I went to Jethro's funeral to do some filming, and I really struggled with pain and fatigue.
And where was the pain? Was it throughout the body or in a particular place?
Well, the pain was basically up the back, round the abdomen, stomach, down the left leg.
So not even if it was a kidney problem or something like that, you'd think you could connect it.
Yeah.
It was kind of sort of spread across the body, but in different directions.
Yes, and so the fatigue was getting worse and worse.
Did you have any indication at that point what you thought it might be?
No, I think you do sort of toy with other ideas, but I was always looking on best scenarios. It's something else. And even when I had some scans and I had an ultrasound and a CAT scan and a PET scan, I was sent for all of those. And then I had a biopsy, a neck biopsy on my birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
A piece of cake and a biopsy.
Yeah, well, they did put some jelly on the neck.
Well, that's nice. No ice cream?
No ice cream, no. And even then, I was trying not to think cancer. But eventually, all of the biopsies, tests, scans were done, and I had an appointment at haematology at the Royal Cornwall Hospital. And they do have, at the bottom of the letters they send you, not everything we deal with is cancer. Oh, yeah.
I mean, the fact they've put that disclaimer in.
Yes.
I suppose, though, let's go back to that time. The fact you've been referred there and you're reading that letter, and the fact they've put that into the letter, how did you feel? And was there a sort of dread? Did your perspective change? Did you panic?
Being totally honest, I didn't panic at that point. I think there's a lot of mental blocking going on where you try and push the worst case scenarios out the side of your mind, into the back of your mind. You don't want to even contemplate some of those. It's only when you're sitting in that consultant's office and, I mean, even at the start, he said, oh, it's non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And I said, what's that? Oh, sorry, it's blood cancer. It's a type of blood cancer. Oh.
So what does that mean? So blood cancer, organ cancer you can associate, and you think to yourself, well, look, if it's on my liver, they can do something with that. What does it mean if you have blood cancer?
A lymphoma is a cancer of the lymphatic system. Essentially, it's all tied in with your immune system. And it's not like you can just go and operate and get rid of it, because it's round your body. So although lymph glands had come up in my neck, they also check for lymph glands under the armpits, in the groin. Like, there was a lymph gland up in my groin, which was causing the pain in the leg because it was pressing on nerves. And then the biggest mass of cancerous lymphatic system was in around the sort of stomach around there and around the abdomen. And it was getting worse very quickly. The pain was becoming uncontrollable with painkillers I was on, things like cocodamol and, codeine and all those sort of things.
Not even touching it?
A bit. I actually got into trying, on top of that, meditation to try and control it. But eventually I remember one time being in Lowen Ward in the Royal Cornwall Hospital, screaming in pain on a bed, and they couldn't touch it. And I remember waking up in a hospital room at 3 o'clock in the morning, curled up on the floor in pain and demanding very vociferously even stronger painkillers. The pain was a challenge. And I think for people like my mother watching me in pain at home, curled up on the floor, not being able to control the pain, was tough on other people as well.
Okay. Go back to that point, though, when they then gave you the diagnosis. This is what you had. How did you feel?
To anyone, it's a shock. To anyone, it's a shock. I think because it is such a shock, you go into emotional shutdown. And it takes a while. Well, it took me a while. I have seen, sitting in haematology on many occasions, people come out of a consultant's appointment, tears flowing down their cheeks and, crying and horrendous. I wasn't like that. It took me a long time to really get into, yes, there were tears, but not at that point. I did cry a lot, eventually, but everyone is different. Every cancer patient is different. Every cancer is different. And even if I talk to someone else with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, there are 60 different types of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Okay.
And no one will have exactly the same experience. No one will experience the pains or side effects in the same way, in the same place.
Or even get the same reaction off the medication.
No, exactly. Yeah, exactly. For instance, some people have different pain tolerances. And you often hear this from the ladies, oh, we can deal with the pain better than you.
Is that based on childbirth?
Yes, you should try having a baby. But everyone is different on dealing with pain. And I learnt that very quickly.
We're going to just touch this bit then. Did you move it back with mum? Were you living with mum at the time?
A mother came down to see me because it wasn't worthwhile me going up there because my appointments are all down here.
So how did she cope with it?
Well, I think it's an interesting thing. I hear this from a lot of people, that I was brave for her and she was brave for me.
That was how you coped?
We were both being brave for each other. And it was only really when she came to stay with me, because there was a lot of online sort of Zooming and stuff like that. But when she came to stay with me, she could see that I was struggling a lot. And I think when you get onto chemotherapy just plays havoc with everything in your body. And part of the chemotherapy regime was steroids, which plays havoc with your emotions. Became very emotional in a way that I'm not normally.
Because you would say you're quite a stable person. I remember in previous conversations, you'd said to me, and if you don't mind me mentioning, that you had some mental health challenges, and of which you've had some therapy for that, and that helped you very much going back to that sort of process of coping with this, which is possibly why you weren't so emotional as some people coming out of the room.
I think because of the mental health challenges I've had through my life, from the earliest day, even at school, I was bullied throughout school. I was bullied at different places at work, and it makes you grow a skin. And so though you might feel the emotion, you don't always show it in the same way.
Do you think that is why, if people meet you, because you're a very likable guy, right?
Oh, thank you.
But do you think that's because you've got this big front, and in behind it, actually, you're still this vulnerable person that goes back through the bullying, back through the bad health, and all the trauma that you've been through? You've managed to put this big, may I say, loud front on you, because we definitely hear you before we see you, right?
You need better soundproofing on those studios.
But do you think you've developed this front, and that's your shield to protect you?
It is a shield. I think everyone has a shield of some type that they wear. And you hear this from actors an awful lot. The whole reason why they get into acting is because they can be someone who they're not.
Where do you draw your inspiration from to move forward then? Because we'll touch on it briefly. You didn't just have cancer once, you had it not twice, but 3 times.
In a short period of time.
Yeah. You went through chemotherapy, you then had stem cell therapy, and then you had a new type of therapy, didn't you?
Yes.
So how do you find the inspiration to wake up every day? Where do you draw your energy from? What is it that makes Matthi Clark still get up and go?
I have to say that there were times I didn't want to continue.
Right.
So particularly in the middle of feeling absolutely utter pants on the floor, during and after, I didn't want to wake up.
No.
It's a difficult thing to actually come to terms with yourself when you realise that you didn't want to continue.
How did you cope through that?
Because I feel a responsibility to myself and to other people. I've got family, I've got friends around, and I owe a responsibility to them as much. And I think that I've got to find a way. I've always found a way in the past. I've got to find a way now.
And those moments when it was hard, what did you do that day?
Well, funnily enough, some of the hardest moments were on Lowen Ward at the Royal Cornwall. And I actually found a lot of strength in fellow patients on the ward, some of them whom were in a far worse situation than myself. The humour you get on a cancer ward.
Is it dark?
Yes. Obviously, I can't reveal any identification of anyone.
No.
However, there was one person who was really not long for this world. He was propped up on pillows. Lovely guy. He was right by the window on the ward. There's 4 on the ward. And it was a very sunny day, and the blinds were shut, and the nurse came in, and he said, "Oh, can I have the blinds open?" And she said, "Well, it's very sunny, but surely the sun will be a bit too strong." He said, "Look, I've got every other type of cancer now, might as well get melanoma."
Wow.
And we all laughed.
But that's his way of dealing with it.
Yes, that's his way of dealing with it. It was our way of dealing with it. And the other way of dealing with it, I have to really say, is that I don't think I would have dealt with it half as well if it hadn't been for the Cove
Right.
at the Royal Cornwall Hospital, which is the unit there, which is part of the Royal Cornwall Hospital, but it's run by Macmillan. And they have a cafe there. And I've had lots of counselling, mental health support there. You know, I've come out of some, I said that first consultant's appointment, I was holding on to it, but there were, I think it was far worse first time I relapsed, and they confirmed that the scan showed that I relapsed. And I remember going along that rather grubby corridor between haematology and the Cove, which is a lovely building, and there's a lovely garden there. And I sat in the cafe, I got a coffee, and I couldn't control my emotion. I just sat there, and someone said, "Do you want to come and have a chat?" And took me, and it was times like those that, you know, you realise how important cancer support is, how absolutely important, because otherwise people go to very grim places in their life.
Okay. Well, look, what we'll do is we'll take a short break. We'll be back in a minute just to find out about how you've come out the other side of it, and also what you're going to be doing next to help other people that are need support regarding cancer, and your new podcast. More on that in a minute.
Owners Off Script. Real owners, real conversations. Supported by SalesGeek. Practical sales strategy and support for growing businesses across Cornwall.
So welcome back then to Owners Off Script with myself, Richard, and Matthi Clark. Earlier on, you would have heard us talk in depth regarding Mathi's health and the challenges that he's been through, the emotions and the places that he ended up going to in his mind through all the pain. If you are suffering from any challenges from this, please make sure you go to our website and check out all of the helplines that we've got. Now, we're going to pick this up, Matthi. When we left off just now, you talked about it being quite dark. You talked about the days you didn't want to wake up, the pain that you were in. We also briefly touched on the fact that you didn't go through this once, not twice, but 3 times, having had chemotherapy, stem cell therapy, and then a new type of therapy. Yeah. Just in a summary, tell us about sort of the second and third time that you got this, because obviously the emotions would have come back again, but how did you cope with that?
I think, so when I relapsed, the cancer seemed to progress a lot faster. We were going to try to go for a trial drug, but there was a problem with getting a biopsy of where it was, and it was moving on so fast. I said, okay, they put me straight onto a different regime of chemotherapy first. And they said, right, we're going to get you ready for a stem cell transplant. And I went up to Derriford, and they sort of gave me the information about what I needed to know, and a few tests and things. And then the consent form. The consent forms are horrendous because they tell you everything that can go wrong.
You're at the mercy of them right now. There's a piece of paper you need to sign. What does it say?
It just goes through it starts off at the top of the milder things that you will experience as side effects. You know, and the laugh down the bottom, you know.
Well, they saved the best till last.
Yes, you could die. I mean, when I was first, I didn't say actually, in my first consultant's appointments, they said, you've got a 70% chance of living for 5 years. And that actually sounds very good. It is very good. But because where your mind is, I was thinking that's a 30% chance of not being here in 5 years' time. Mm-hmm. And of course, when you see all these consent forms, you have to sign them, obviously, for a legal reason. But then there's one occasion when I was in so much pain, I could barely see, and consent form, you could sign it, and I couldn't read it. I still just signed it.
You didn't really have a choice, though, did you?
You don't.
It's sign it, or you don't have whatever they will offer you.
Do or die.
So effectively, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah.
But ultimately, if you don't, there's only one-way ticket, where if you do, there's a chance there's something else that can happen. Let's go to the times now where you got to ring the bell. So what was the first time like ringing the bell?
I actually have got a little bit of video of that.
Okay. We'll put that in.
And of course, I was very ecstatic. And, ring my bell.
Did you sing at the same time?
I did. Yes.
Okay. Did they all clap and cheer?
No, they ran away. And I thought that was the end of it. But it wasn't. There was a relapse. And then the stem cell transplant, which was horrendous. That took a long time to recover from. I remember being in the hospital, recovering. It had to be in isolation. Of course, it's a brand new ward they put me in, brand new lone ward. I was the first through the doors after they cut the ribbon. I saw all the press leaving.
Wow.
And it was still shaking.
Did you know any of them?
Yes, I did. And I also saw the leader of Cornwall Council, who I knew leaving as well. And I thought, what's going on here?
Did you think it was for you?
Oh, yes. They're welcoming me there. But I was put on this new ward, and they put me in a lovely room down the end. Had a little garden.
Nice.
And I thought, this is like a hotel. And then middle of the night, they came and said, you're in the wrong room. And they moved the bed down to, you've got to be in isolation.
Oh, nice.
And I was later told by someone, that was the end of life room.
Okay. Maybe you don't want to be in that room, as much as the garden was lovely. So listen, I want to get onto this bit now, right?
Yeah.
So you've been on a journey, you've been on a hell of a journey.
Yeah.
You have survived at this point, because we can never say never. You've survived at this point, 3 lots of cancer.
Yeah.
You have been on one hell of a mental journey through this process.
Yes.
We've heard the lows, not too many of the highs, apart from you sing and ring my bell.
And meeting you here.
Well, thank you very much. I'll take that. Got that. The thing that we now want to really talk about is how you're taking your situation and you're helping other people, because you've always been a guy that likes to give. And I've known you for a lot of years. You've always given before you've ever taken from someone. And although you've been through this journey, you now want to still be able to give back to other people who are maybe at the start, the middle, or journeying through their cancer problems. So with some help from another agency and organisation, which you'll need to mention, tell us what you got coming up next.
Okay, so I decided that I didn't want to come out of this end of cancer and not use what I have learnt in my life to the benefit of someone else, to other people. So I thought, well, how do I do that? What can I do? So I thought, well, I've got the skills in broadcasting, journalism, and audio media production. I thought, well, yeah, okay, why don't I put my life experience now with that and produce a podcast for Cornwall where it adds another level of cancer support there? Because there's brilliant cancer support already in Cornwall, where you've got the Cove, Macmillan, and they run outreach and cancer cafes, and there's a lady who runs cancer cafes in the east.
You don't want to step on their toes.
I'm not stepping on their toes at all. What I'm doing is, in some ways, I'm actually promoting what they're doing, and I'm also doing this podcast, a weekly podcast, with funding from the National Lottery Community Fund, so that people who are stuck at home quite a bit, they might be unable to get out because of their condition. They might not have bus routes. They might not be able to drive. They might not be able to have someone to take them to that support they need all the time. And sometimes you need that support middle of the night, 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, very dark times for a cancer patient. Mm-hmm. Yes, there are helplines already. So you can go on the Macmillan website and get help.
Is that someone that you can talk to?
Yes, you can. Yes. So there are things you can do. However, I thought, well, let's produce a nice, light support program just to give people that extra hug, because people need a hug and people need that. And they can also do it finding out the strength in other people who have gone through things, and they can find out different ways they can combat or deal with or get through. Language dealing with cancer is, everyone uses different words. Some people don't like the word fight, battle, combat, winning, or things like that. Some people do.
What language would you use instead of that?
Okay, so I will use things like getting through. And someone who's experiencing cancer, Not too much emotional language in that way, because people deal with it in different ways.
Of course, of course. So you've got the new podcast. What's it called?
It's called the Cornwall Cancer Cafe Podcast. And we've got two websites, actually. One's called www.cancercafepodcast.org, and the other one is an easier one, cancercafe.org.
Right.
All one word there.
Okay. So if they were to look that up,
Yes.
they'll be able to then start to follow, like, and
And
support.
also, yeah, they can also go to, say, Spotify or Apple Podcasts and put in Cornwall Cancer Cafe Podcast, and they will find it on Spotify and Apple.
And are you looking for anybody to take part to come and tell their
Oh,
stories?
well, yes. So if it's not only about the people with the diagnosis, it's also for the carers, it's also for the family, it's also for the friends. It's for everyone involved. Everyone is experiencing that cancer in a different way. So I'm interested in hearing from all of those people, because everyone has this different journey, and I want to hear those different journeys and be able to give people strength and support by learning from them, because it's a big learning event, cancer is. And also I would like as many people to pass on the message that it's there, because we need the National Lottery to realise this is good work being done and to give us a continuing project. On top of that, we would like to have a listeners panel of 5 or 6 people to just give us a bit of feedback.
Bit of
regularly.
steering.
Yes.
Okay.
So those are the sort of things we're looking for. But basically, we're there to give a hug to as many people going through the mill.
Now, this is called Owners Off Script, and you have been a business owner, and you were a business owner when all of this happened, and continuing to be a business owner now. So through your health conditions, through experiencing cancer, as you like to say, how have you found it sort of trying to keep your business running?
That was a major challenge, and I didn't actually. I tried to, at the outset, you hear a lot of people say, oh, I kept working throughout, but every cancer is different, don't forget. Some people will have cancer where they don't have much treatment. They will have an operation, a little bit of clear-up chemotherapy, and they say, I'm back to work, and that's brilliant. That's
And you might have a bigger network, and because you're a sole trader, aren't you? You're on your own, living with all this great content from Cornwall, Cornish language, Cornish videos, representing the Duchy in a beautiful way, but there isn't anyone else to carry the camera or the tripod for you, is there?
No.
And which you find exhausting.
Yes, and so I couldn't do it. So I let a lot of projects close, fold.
Are you back open for business now?
I am back open for business, for video production particularly, and I'm sort of getting back into that. I tried to relaunch 3 times, and I didn't tell you, the thing that really was a massive hit, after being told I'm clear of cancer, or in remission, put it that way, for the 3rd time, I thought, yay, let's get life going. But as we know, life is what happens when you're making other plans.
Yeah.
So John Lennon wrote in a song. I think he took it from someone else though. And I went down with pneumonia last year, which really knocked me for 6, because I was already trying to recover from 3 lots of cancer.
Yeah.
And then pneumonia happens, back in hospital, back in treatment. And they thought I might have been relapsing as well. Luckily, I wasn't. I came out of that and said, your immune system's on the floor. So it's been, the last year has been dealing with that.
Well, listen, to wrap this up, I know this is the worst thing to ask somebody to do, but is there any particular thank yous you'd like to say? Because you're bound to forget somebody.
Right,
But is there
here
any
we go.
particular thank yous that you would like to give?
Okay, so thank you, first of all, to family, particularly my mother. Thank you to the friends who took me to hospital and back on appointments and did some shopping for me as well. Those are absolutely essential. Thank you to Macmillan, the Cove, for being there. Without you, I don't know where I would be. Thank you to my consultants, the nurses, the haematology and the Headlands unit. Absolutely brilliant. All of those.
I would say also thank you to all the people on the ward with you.
Yes.
Because although some may now have not made it, others will, but through those times they've kept you upright.
Exactly.
Matthi Clark, this has been a phenomenal conversation. thank you. I wish you well with your new business, getting back up on the ground again.
And the show on Rewind.
Yes, and of course, 3 o'clock till 5 on a Sunday afternoon, you will be on Rewind. Please look him up. Please support again. That website again, please.
It's www.cancercafepodcast.org.
Please make sure that you look that up and get in touch as well. And if you are somebody who's been affected, we'll have all the helplines and support as well for you to access that. Details of that will be below. And please make sure that you look after yourself.
Thank you.
Keep yourself strong.
And you too.
And what is it you normally say when you're leaving?
Oh, be bad.
Be bad. Matthi Clark, a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Owners Off Script. Real owners, real conversations. Supported by Sales Geek. Practical sales strategy and support for growing businesses across Cornwall.